been for them? How has the federal government, the states and local government yielding to the request of the Nigerian workers? We'll look at all of that as we have a human rights activist talk to us about that, because of course they interface with the public most times. You see them protesting on behalf of the workers several times, and one of them will be with us in the studio today as we look at that. Once again, happy Workers' Day. How is it going where you are? How is the celebration? Some persons are actually excited because today is a public holiday. That's what they know. Some persons may not even be coming out to celebrate. Like we know, growing up as kids, 1st of May, Workers' Day, you see a lot of display, you see a lot of workers coming out, people from the oil sector, people from the banking sector, engineers, you see them flying colors, you know, displaying how proud they are about their profession. But how many Nigerians today are proud of their professions? Well, I don't know, maybe politicians, and of course you just need to know that politics is not a career, okay? It's not a career. But then, let's quickly look at some developing stories from around Nigeria, how it has been going. As a matter of fact, the Warri Refinery, the Port Harcourt Refinery and the Kaduna Refinery is yet to pick up in earnest. And we've been having ups and downs from the downstream and mainstream sector, and of course so many things happening, and the issue of reduction in the price of fuel has been one of the things that workers have been clamoring for. I could remember when subsidy was removed, NLC embarked on several strikes. Yes, I think I need to whisper into someone's ears. It's only you I'm talking to right now. I'm just talking to only you. Don't tell anyone. How effective has the NLC been, especially in this administration? Don't tell anyone. No. We'll talk about that later. I'm just talking to you, just you alone, okay? So I believe nobody heard except you. So we need to actually check the activities of the Nigerian Labour Congress, the TUC and other civil society organizations. How effective have these people been in the recent time? I could remember back in the days during the time of Adams Oshomole, if NLC pronounced strike action, the federal government will be quaking, you know, they will be scared, they will be jittering, or, you know, because they know the outcome, the aftermath of it. But now, after the roundtable discussion, we don't get to hear anything again, and the reason why these strike actions are being embarked on is not being handled. So a lot of people have been questioning the activities of the now Nigerian Labour Congress. Some persons are saying, come, Nigerian Labour Congress, are they a political party? Are they part of Labour Party? Are they trying to, you know, so many things. So today is Workers' Day. We need to look at all of that. All right, let me get back to what I was talking about from the oil sector. You know, attention. Most of the times, growing up, you know, as Nigerian, what Nigerians actually look at as one of the major source of income for Nigeria is the crude oil, the crude that we have, the petroleum that we have. You know, after being refined, it comes up as a PMS. We have gas, we have the rest of them, kerosene and all of that. But then how affordable is this? Do you know that I went to fill my gas, and when they told me how much a kg is, my God, I shouted. But I don't have any option. Gotta be filled. You know, when you're feeling like 11 kg cylinder, you know what it means in Nigeria right now. Then can I tell you something? You know, the federal government came up with an option of CNG because the petroleum was not available. Fuel was scarce. And a lot of people, filling stations, took advantage of the scarcity of fuel to exploit the average Nigerians. Are they really average, those that own cars? Yeah, it's not everyone that own car that is actually wealthy. Sometimes For some, it is a necessity. For others, it is luxury. But then, let's look at the availability of CNG that the federal government advised us to at least tilt to a little bit. Because I could remember the president saying something during the period of subsidy removal and fuel scarcity. You know, a lot of Nigerians were told that it is time to convert your engine to a CNG compliant engine, and a lot of people did. If you're going along Airport Road, in fact, in front of Dunamis Church, you will see cars parked because the filling station couldn't take them anymore. The queue is very long. So what they do is they go to Dunamis and they queue roundabout. All right, they queue roundabout waiting for their turn, and it will amaze you. You'll be wondering what's happening. Is this a car park? Why are all these cars there? It's because they are waiting to buy the CNG, the compressed natural gas, for their car. It is affordable, yeah? It is affordable compared to fuel, but then the availability is the problem. Some persons get to queue as early as 4-5 a.m. in the morning, and they don't get this gas until maybe noon. That's how serious it is. So what am I trying to say? Today is Workers' Day, and as a matter of fact, I think there are so much, okay, on the table. There is so much on the table. There is so much, and there are so many things to talk about as far as the Workers' Day is concerned today. Now, let's do a comparison. A lot of Nigerians were actually excited during the Ramadan, where we heard it was in the news everywhere that the price of commodity food item was reducing, and Nigerians were so excited about it. But what's happening now? What took the price back again? Things are very expensive, all right? But then the prices of grain, though it's not as high as it used to be. But can I tell you something? I wonder how Nigerians get to adapt with so many things easily. I was wondering, the same people that were shouting, wow, a loaf of bread is 1,500 naira. Should I tell you how much a loaf of bread is now? In my own location, from the supermarket, you get to the shelf, touch that bread, they will tell you 2,000 naira. The cheapest you can get is 1,900, 1,800 naira. I'm talking about a loaf of bread that a family of 5 will finish during breakfast. Then at noon you begin to scamper for how you can get something for lunch. That is if a lot of people still have lunch. Then you talk about dinner, because some persons, if they don't eat, they can't even sleep at night. Different things for different persons, you know. But some persons can actually sleep fasting, just take whatever they want. But what about people who are also patients that need to take something all the time? Those who have ulcer, in fact, ulcer now is becoming something else. The rate at which people develop this ulcer because they don't get to eat. Someone was speaking to me a few days ago, and she went to the hospital and she was diagnosed of ulcer. Why? Because she wasn't eating. Why was she not eating? Is there food that the person refused to eat? No. Affordability, that's what Nigerians are going through. At this point in time, we need to go back to the drawing board. Subsidy has been removed. Policies have been made. Free float of naira. And so many things happening in the economy. I was speaking with an economist yesterday. I said, what's the assessment right now? Because beginning of the year, we were told that 2024, the economy picked a little bit just because of the contribution of telcos and the financial sector. It picked a little bit. But then, how is it right now? This is May, all right? Like 5 months into 2025. How is the economy right now? I think we need an economist to give us a breakdown of how the economy is faring right now. For some persons, they don't have an issue because everything is moving on smoothly. But what about the other people that could barely cope with the situation? What is the government doing about it? Have you seen the palliative? Have you gotten the palliative? what are these palliatives? We were made to understand that buses were going to be on the road, CNG compliant buses, that Nigerians will not be paying much, and so many things. But then a politician will tell you something and you'll say something different. Not all politicians are some politicians. And sometimes it is being blown out of proportion. Get on social media today and see what is happening, what a lot of people are doing. It will amaze you. It will amaze you, because I'll keep saying it. It's not everything that happens on social media that you pick up. You need to be careful the kind of stories, all right, you actually absorb on social media, because a lot of people are just there to make money, to create content. So they put up anything they like anytime. So it is your own choice now to decide the kind of news, the kind of information you get. And that's the reason we try as much as possible to bring you the National Daily every day on Global Morning, bring you to speed with the headlines, the major headlines, all right? Then we give you the picture of what is happening around you, because you deserve to know. So we are going on a quick break so that we can bring you to speed with the headlines for today. Once again, happy Workers' Day to all our workers around Nigeria. And of course, it is Workers' Day. You don't have any choice than to celebrate yourself. Sometimes I tell people, if you don't celebrate yourself, nobody can celebrate you better than you celebrate yourself. So we have no option than to celebrate ourselves, that you are alive today, even though your salaries are being owed. I think it's more important that you are alive. I don't want to talk about pensioners that have passed, because maybe they were not well paid because their pensions were not released. How long does it take for pensions to be paid, for gratuity to be paid to people who have served this country for 35 years or more? And that's what it is. We will be looking at all of that today, but then it is Workers' Day. Once again, I will keep saying it, because I value Nigerian workers. They are resilient, they are hardworking, except for few who go to the office to go and gist, and you know where they are. All right, I think the authorities need to do something about the fact that some persons are working and other persons are relaxing. They come gist. Some even bring stuff to the office to come and sell. All right, from their office to business center and all of that, because there is barely nothing to do, or probably some few persons are doing the job. Meaning the Nigerian workers also have their own share of the blame, because it is not all of them that are productive. Some are just redundant, especially in the civil service. A lot of people are redundant, but they are taking salaries. That's what it means. Meaning the Nigerian workers also, some Nigerian workers also need to sit up. I don't want to generalize. That's why I say some Nigerian workers need to sit up, because everyone have the right, and it's everyone's duty to contribute to the growth of the economy. All right, let's get a quick break. When we return, we'll look at the pages of the National Daily, from the Vanguard to the Punch to the Nation to Nigerian News Direct to Business Day, every other papers that we will be able to look at within the confine of the time. We will do that. And don't forget that at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, we'll bring you the AM News. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and it is Global Morning. Let's go on a quick break. We'll return after this break.
Morning Show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
It's good to have you back. It is Global Morning on Global Television, reaching you live and direct from the nation's capital, Abuja. In case you're just joining us, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTime channel 276. So you can tell someone to be part of what's happening right now, because it is Workers' Day and you are back home. Everyone around you needs to be part of what's happening today, because we will be talking about you today. You are our major concern today because we care. And now we want you to know what's happening as far as news and current affairs is concerned. Now from the national dailies, the first paper that I have is the Nigerian News Direct. Reason says a cultist war. Edo government demolishes suspected hideout, vows to fish out perpetrator. Details read on page 11. The issue of cultism in Nigeria, I don't know, but then I keep wondering, how did we even get here in the first place? Because this is how it escalates. It will amaze you that even in secondary schools today, we still have people who indulge in cultism at different levels. It's not doing Nigeria any harm, any good. It's doing Nigeria a whole lot of harm, because these people are being taught how to use weapons, and before you know it, they get to the road. Robbery starts. You know what it means when you have a weapon, and most of these people do hard drugs. When they do drugs and they hit the road, you know what it means. It's not a good one at all for Nigeria. Well, world's biggest cotton factory in Ogun set for groundbreaking. That's coming from Abiodun, and the detail you can find on page 6 of the Nigerian News Direct. World's biggest cotton factory in Ogun set for groundbreaking. This one says over 8,000 Lagos residents lifted out of poverty in 1 year. Lagos Commissioner, I think this is interesting. Details you can find on page 10. How did he do it? How did it happen? Over 8,000 Lagos residents lifted out of poverty in 1 year. Lagos Commissioner. Which of the commissioner is really saying this? How did he do that? What does he mean by saying 8,000 Lagosians were lifted out of poverty? What does it mean? You know, sometimes little things are being done and the media blows it up because somebody somewhere may have asked them to do so. Not all media houses, just a few media houses, but then some persons themselves, some commissioners, may want to blow things out of proportion. Probably they've done something, but it might not totally be what they said it is. When you said 8,000 Lagos residents are lifted out of poverty in 1 year, we just need to know the details. So if you want to know what the detail is all about, pick a copy of the Nigerian News Direct and quickly go through page 10. This one says federal government set to finalize 1.5 trillion naira concession deal for 9 major highways. That's Edun is the one saying that, the coordinating minister of the economy. This one says defection. Again, court dismisses Fubara's loyalist suit against 27 pro-Wike Rivers lawmakers. The issue in Rivers State, I think we are beginning to see some, I don't want to call it compromise, but then I think peace is gradually returning to Rivers State, because in one of the papers I saw, what was it, on the paper or on social media? Well, I don't take information on social media very serious because some of them are just fake stories. But then if it is something that I check and research, I will be sure about it. But the bottom line is that peace is gradually returning to Rivers State. But the question is this: when is Fubara going to return back to the government house? And when is the sole administrator going to be leaving? Will he still be there until the expiration of the 6 months? Remember, the suspension was for 6 months, but then I think court is dismissing Fubara's loyalty suit against 27 pro-Wike lawmakers in River State. Now to the big story, which is the star story. May Day. You must continue to call for accountability and good governance. Atiku tells labor unions. You must continue to call for accountability and good governance. Atiku tells labor unions. I think I was talking about, during my introduction, I was talking about the fact that a lot of people these days don't even believe so much in the labor unions, because the interest of the people is not really being defended. Okay, so a lot of people, if you talk about NLC before now, if NLC wants to go on strike or they even pronounce strike, everyone knows they are serious about it. But right now, if you talk about NLC strike, people go to work, mind their businesses, they don't care, because they look at it as in maybe somebody somewhere just want to go and get money and he's trying to use us and all of that. Before now, it wasn't so. Right here, Atiku is saying accountability and governance. You must continue to call for accountability and good governance, labor unions, and not just get to the negotiation table and get down with whatever it is. One writer to that story, and it says, faults Tinubu government over workers' welfare neglect. That this administration has neglected our workers' welfare. I think we'll talk about all of that today. And if you're a worker and you have a peculiar story, you can actually send to us. We'll declare it anonymous anyway. All right, you can just send such messages to us. You can go on our social media platforms. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on X. All right, just drop a message for us. Probably if you want, you can do a video and send to us whatever you want to share with us. You can go ahead and do that. Keep the social media busy today. It is your day. Let us know what your plights are. All right, who is defending you? How is your welfare been taken care of? What about the minimum wage? Has it been implemented in your office, whether public or private? Because when we talk about minimum wage, it is supposed to be across board, not just federal government workers alone that are supposed to enjoy the minimum wage. All right, that's going to be the size of the stories from the Nigeria News Direct. Let's quickly flip to the next paper, which is the Daily Trust newspaper. What's the Daily Trust newspaper saying this morning? It is Workers' Day, and I won't be surprised to see all the papers talking about workers. But how important are Nigerian workers? That also we need to talk about. North Central governors, more joint security operations. That's below the nameplate. Bank customers to pay 6 naira on every SMS transaction alert from today. Well, it's a matter of going to the bank and said, disable my SMS alert. I don't need it anymore. All right. If I want to check my account balance, I can go through the app and check it. Or do you still want to charge Nigerians for using your mobile app? I don't think so. So if you're paying, because sometimes they even send you unsolicited messages that you don't need. Why should you charge me for messages I didn't ask for? 6 naira? By the time you calculate 6 naira, multiply by the millions of Nigerians using these banks. And let me tell you, one person can have account in 2-3 banks in Nigeria, transacting in all, depending on which is closest to them at a particular point of time, depending on which render a particular service better than the other. So you see some even having as much as 5 bank account numbers. Well, 600 naira deduction for SMS by banks. Please let unsolicited messages not be part of it. And if you don't want, you can actually go to the bank and disable the SMS. What SMS do you need? They will tell you card maintenance. They are sending you messages for card maintenance, and you have the card. They are the ones maintaining the card in your hand. And if anything happened to the card, you go to the bank, you pay before you get a new one. So where is the maintenance coming from? What is the maintenance all about? So some of these things needs to be looked into by the Central Bank of Nigeria, which is the father of all commercial banks. And as a matter of fact, let's also look at other things happening from the National Daily. Today is Workers' Day, and I know a lot of people are back home waiting for what will happen today. As a matter of fact, let's also inform you that Nigeria is our country, Nigeria is our nation. Whatever we do, we must know that nation building is very important, including the banking sector. All right, Plateau traders lost 1 billion naira to midnight inferno. My God, that's very hard. That's serious. That's difficult to bear. You know, in this hard time, losing 1 billion naira to midnight inferno. Is it 1 billion naira cash, or you're quantifying the goods? Because I know no one would put 1 billion naira in the market, in his or her shop. Probably they are quantifying the price or the cost of maybe the products, or maybe the things in that shop, or all the shops that were burnt. Maybe they are trying to quantify what the product will cost. All right, 2027, that's the big story on the Daily Trust. ACF gives conditions for North's support. Then May Day, 70,000 naira minimum wage, not enough. Workers are the ones crying out. All right. When they were paying you 30,000 and all of that. Well, I think at all, nine bad pass. But notwithstanding, if you look at the current reality, what can 70,000 naira increment do? What can 70? Well, I think we need to understand what this minimum wage means, because a lot of people don't know how to calculate this minimum wage. Minimum wage does not really mean everyone should be paid 70,000 naira as in, okay, that's the flat rate for everyone. If you're collecting 100,000 before they reduce it to 70,000, that's not what it means. But it's supposed to be calculated into what your current salary is. Then nobody is expected, no laborer, no worker is expected to receive or be paid less than 70,000 naira. That's what it means. All right. Workers are saying the 70,000 naira minimum wage is not enough, looking at the current economic reality of Nigeria. How swindler preyed on miracle seeker at Kanu Holy Site. 4 years after, please resume vehicle tinted glass permit issuance. Kidnappers chop on victims' hands, shown ransom. So why were they kidnapped in the first place? That's how wicked and terrible this country is right now. You kidnap someone, they pay ransom, you refuse the ransom, and you chop up the people's hand. This is barbaric. This is unacceptable. This is bad, and something needs to be done about it. We are all human. We are all human. No matter what the situation is, we need to at least show ourselves love as one country and one nation. The Punch newspaper right now, let's look at the Punch newspaper. I am seeing one very interesting story above the nameplate on the Punch newspaper right now about CBEX. All right, CBEX resumes operation despite SEC ban. 1.2 trillion naira EFCC probe. They are resuming operations again. Is this one another scheme to still cut away people's money? I think people have learned. Those that are being owed should be settled. I think that's the only way this issue can actually die a natural death. People who have put their money inside already, if they can't get the profit, at least let them get their money. We need to be at least considerate, looking at the economic reality that we are facing right now. But then I'll still need to talk about this. No matter how juicy, how promising anything that looks like a Ponzi scheme is, please don't do it. Don't do it, because those people are, I look at them as scammers. They are coming to scrape your head. You know, they are coming to wipe money from your account, make you suffer. Well, I don't know if CBEX is returning back. How are they returning back? Have they started paying people if they are owing? Maybe that's the condition, all right, given, so that at least they can get out of the net of the authorities, EFCC and other agencies. All right. This one says 3 judges suspended as NJC voids Imo acting CJ's appointment. Then this one says Wike fires back at Atiku. Dele Momodu over zoning comment. Details you can find on page 40. The big story, Mayday push. Labour demands wage review to ease cost of living crisis. All of us know what's happening in Nigeria. 70,000 cannot do anything right now. How much, if you're feeding a family of 3, a family of 4, a family, you know what I'm talking about. You don't, even as a single person, as a bachelor and spinster, you know what it is right now. The economy, in fact, we go to the same market here, so we know how things are. If workers are saying, well, we need a review of minimum wage, it is correct, because some people somewhere are sharing billions every day, sharing millions, all right, in the name of just doing nothing, in the name of sitting allowance, probably, in the name of maybe allowances due to them, in the name of holidays, while some persons are just crying for something a little above 70,000 naira. Please, we need to be considerate. Today is Workers' Day. We are still waiting for what will come out of the broadcast today. All right, one right into that story, NAS to address workers' concern. Labour rejects 70,000 naira pay over rising inflation and others. It is clear. UK speak on Britain arrested in Nigeria for arms deal. Tinubu, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Atiku pay tribute to Adebanjo. And of course, AFIMA 2025. Lagos ready to host Africa, says Sanwo-Olu. That's from the Punch newspaper this morning. And from the Punch, let's quickly get to the Daily Times newspaper this morning. On the Daily Times newspaper, I'm beginning from the big story on the Daily Times newspaper this morning. The big story says, halt sale of Lafarge to Chinese investors. SEC urges federal government. All right, moving away from there, Zenith Bank delights shareholders with dividends payout of 195.67 billion naira, promises quantum leap in future dividends. All right, and finally from the Daily Trust newspaper, this one says federal government reaffirms commitment to sustainable economic growth. That's it on the Daily Times newspaper. Do I still have time? All right, let me see if I can take one more or two. All right, this one says from the Nation's newspaper this morning. What's the Nation's newspaper saying? Above the nameplate, Delta APC ready to receive Ibori. Obowuri declares. IBA retrieve government vehicle from suspended deputy governor. IBAS, that's the sole administrator of Rivers State, retrieving government vehicle from suspended deputy governor. All right, bank charges on SMS alert go up by 50%. Details on page 5. President should remain in South till 2031. All right, that's on page 3. Then the big story says workers deserve commensurate reward for hard work, says government. Some riders to that story, and the first rider says we will make laws friendly to labor. NLC seeks opening up of civic space. NJC hammer falls on 3 judges. And one rider to that story, 2 riders, I beg your pardon. Justice Iyang Ekwo, Aliyu 1-year suspension. Right, this on 27 other judges under investigation. Well, the judicial system needs an overhauling. I tell you the truth. Overhauling, because so much has been compromised and Nigerians are still thinking, is the judiciary still the last hope of the common man? What's our hope as Nigerians? Because the judiciary to an extent have compromised at different levels, different persons, not all of them, but a lot of them, majority of them, and some of them can even attest to it, that some people have actually compromised. So if there is a sanitation going on in the judicial system, it is good and fine. Then finally, let's look at the Guardian newspaper this morning, and the big story says agitation over cost of living crisis, workers' welfare on May Day. Then this one says UBE fund, Tinubu approves 5-year backlog for states. Right, pandemonium at Port Harcourt refinery as EFCC quiz acting MD. Okay. Tinubu Obasanjo Anyako orders pay tribute to Ayo Adembajo at Service of Songs. This one says 2 million Nigerian children yet to be immunized, says UNICEF. So what are they waiting for? What's the problem? AFIMA 2025, Lagos ready to host Africa, Sanwo-Olu declares. And that's going to be the size of the headlines from the national dailies this morning. I'm stepping aside to make way for the AM news at 8 o'clock. After that, we'll return at 8:30. And it will be time for us to look at the rights of Nigerian workers. What's your right? Where your right ends is where another person's right starts from. Both the employee and the employers have their rights. Whose right has been trampled upon? Whose right has been messed up with? All of this, we will be looking at it today because a lot of people don't even know their right. All they know is, I just want to do my work. I just want to be committed, get my salary at the end of the month and walk away. That's not what it is. So much more to know on the morning show today. So stay with us. We'll return after the AM news at 8 o'clock. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Global Morning returns after this break.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
disbursing upkeep of 20,000 naira.
Know that you cannot talk about a healthy nation if you don't have means to produce your own in addition to importing.
The CG is the principal actor of this because it's within her jurisdiction. Minister is a supervisor.
That we must run in accordance with the Constitution of CAN, where you have just a single time.
The human factor, you have the infrastructural factor, then you have the mechanical factors.
The Senate, with all due respect, they were so hasty in passing that judgment.
The statement I'm about to make is we're not even aware.
That is the future.
You have to be aware before you can begin to be prepared.
Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, the latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all our demands.
This is Global Morning.
On Global TV AM News, federal government moves to curb road accidents. In business, Naira weekend further hits 1,602 Naira per dollar at official market. And on the foreign scene, UK Prime Minister praises Air Force professionalism and bravery. In sports, Nigerian National League expels 1472 Football Club. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV AM News, coming to you live from the national capital, Abuja. I am Priscilla Obasi. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can also download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. The federal government has inaugurated a special committee to identify and curb the root causes of road accidents on Nigerian highways. Minister of Transportation, Senator Said Al-Khali, disclosed this during a stakeholders meeting held at the ministry's conference room in Abuja. The meeting marked a significant step towards improving highway safety and protecting lives and property across the country. Stakeholders across various ministries have gathered in Abuja for a high-level inter-ministerial meeting aimed at tackling the persistent issue of violence against children in Nigeria. The meeting underscores the government's renewed commitment to creating a safe and protective environment for all Nigerian children. Our correspondent, Godwin Sunday, has more on the story.
A day of strategic dialogue and commitment as representative from key government ministries, international partners, civil society organizations and child rights advocates convened at the interministerial meeting on ending violence against children in Nigeria, organized under the auspices of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs in collaboration with UNICEF and other development partners. The meeting focused on reviewing progress, strengthening coordination, and aligning efforts under the National Plan of Action to End Violence Against Children. Speaking during the meeting, the minister emphasized the importance of data-driven interventions, public awareness campaigns, and the urgent need to prosecute perpetrators of child abuse and neglect.
Secondly, is to present the renewed whole agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as it relates to our Nigerian children. Thirdly, is to share the draft National Action Plan for Ending Violence Against Children and invite your final input ahead of its adoption. And lastly, is to brief stakeholders on the upcoming Pathfinder Alliance regional meeting, which Nigeria has the first hosting right, that is happening next week here in Abuja. At the heart of all we do, we must be an unwavering commitment to the rights and the safety and dignity of every Nigerian child.
Key ministries present include Ministry of Labor and Productivity, Health, Justice, Interior, and Information. Each pledged to intensify action within their respective mandate, from enforcing child protection laws to integrate child welfare services into schools and communities.
What has already informed us for us to really have a national strategy on a plan of action on ending violence against?
As the section wrapped up, participants agreed on a joint action plan to accelerate implementation across the country. Godwin Sunday for Global Television News.
Moving on, the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has concluded a closed-door meeting that lasted over 6 hours with key decisions aimed at asserting control over the party's structure in Delta State and advancing its national agenda. Here is Godwin Sunday's report.
Following deliberations, the National Working Committee of People's Democratic Party, PDP, directed its legal team to challenge the mandate of members who recently defected from the party in Delta State, signaling a firm stance against internal disloyalty. In a strategic move to stabilize the party's presence in the region, the committee also appointed Ima Ogidi of the PDP South-South Zonal Chairman to oversee the party's affairs in Delta State alongside his team.
I want to say here unequivocally that PDP is one, and it will continue to be one indivisible party. And no amount of intimidation or mischief can bring down this party. It has survived all sorts of machination in the past, and this one is just a child play.
Additionally, the NWC endorsed the recommendation of the PDP Governors Forum approving May 27th for the National Executive Committee NEC meeting and setting August 28th to 30th as the date for the party's national convention. Godwin Sunday, reporting for Global Television.
The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has condemned the failure of several state governments to fully implement the new minimum wage and consequential salary adjustment, with some states only adding what is described as a mere 5,000 naira to workers' pay. NLC President Joe Ajero raised the concern in Abuja at the 6th National Gender Conference raised by the Congress and the National Women Commission. Ajero said the realities on ground showed that workers were earning less despite the introduction of new minimum wage due to deductions from taxes and inflation. The federal government has declared Thursday, May 1st, 2025 as a public holiday to celebrate Workers' Day. Minister of Interior Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who made a statement in Abuja, emphasized the importance of peace and driving industrialization and economic growth in Nigeria. Olubunmi, in a statement signed by the President's Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Magdalena Jani, commended the dedication and sacrifices of workers, acknowledging their role in the nation's progress, and urged workers to embrace innovation and productivity in their various fields. The National Judicial Institute, NJI, and the Nigerian Law Society have expressed commitment to upholding the rule of law and contributing to the administration of justice in Nigeria. President of the Nigerian Law Society, Chief Miller Audu Nuge, SAN, articulated the society's eagerness to explore potentials, partnership, joint projects, and legal advocacy initiatives with the NJI, highlighting the mutual benefits such as collaborations which could yield in shaping the legal landscape. The sole administrator of the NJI, Honorable Justice Salisu Abdullahi, retired, harped on the importance of training judicial officers and shaping the legal profession, noting that the NJI is well positioned to collaborate with the society in achieving these objectives. Chairman, House of Representative Committee on Renewable Energy, Afam Ogene, has urged state governments to adopt a newly unveiled National Integrated Electricity Policy 2025, describing it as a clear framework to guide states in developing their own electricity markets. Queen Abba has the details.
Speaking in Abuja ahead of the first National Legislative Conference and Expo on Renewable Energy, Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Renewable Energy, Afam Ogene, says the policy will position renewable energy sector as a key driver of affordable power for unserved communities. He noted that the initiative aligns with recent reforms, including the 5th Alteration Bill 2022, which empowers states to regulate electricity generation, transmission, and distribution.
Integrated Electricity Policy 2025 provides an even clearer framework that states need to adopt as they set in place their new electricity markets. It is expected that in doing so, renewables will form a large part of the emerging investment opportunities.
The forthcoming conference, organized in collaboration with the Office of the Speaker and United Nations Development Fund, UNDF, will gather lawmakers, investors, and energy experts to chart a legislative framework for Nigeria's renewable energy future. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting.
Justice Inyang Eko of the Federal High Court has ordered the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to release socialite and businesswoman Aisha Achimugu within 24 hours. Justice Eko also ordered that the parties report to the court on May 2nd on the outcome of his order. Salma Odi completes the report.
Justice Ago had on Monday ordered Achimugu to submit herself to the Anti-Graft Agency in connection with an ongoing investigation brought in on money laundering and other offense. Justice Ago also held that following her appearance at the EFCC office, the anti-graft agency is to return and make an appearance before the court with her on Wednesday, April the 30th for reports. Recall that the EFCC arrested Achimago at 5 a.m. on Tuesday at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. The EFCC is investigating Achimago on a case involving conspiracy, obtaining money by false pretense, money laundering, corruption, and possession of properties reasonably suspected to have been obtained unlawfully. While she was previously arrested and questioned by the EFCC, she was released on administrative bail by the Commission. However, EFCC alleged that she jumped bail and declared Achimago wanted. Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television News.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued a stern warning about fraudulent recruitment advertisement falsely attributed to the ministry and allegedly signed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Speaking at a press briefing at the ministry, spokesperson Kimiebi Ebienfa clarified that the ministry does not directly recruit foreign service officers. Uyi Abumefwebe has details.
The spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs stressed that foreign service officers' appointments are solely managed by the Federal Civil Service Commission. This warning comes in response to a surge in fake job offers circulated via email claiming to provide diplomatic postings, including to Nigerian missions abroad, such as the embassy in Juba, South Sudan.
Some of our persons will fall victim because of the current situation in the country, whereby a lot of our graduates are looking for placements in different MDs. So that is why we felt it to be good for us to put it on record that the ministry is not recruiting. And any online media, any information online that you have seen that is either signed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs or the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is fake.
Ebienfa emphasized that entry into the Nigerian Foreign Service is subject to a rigorous selection process involving mandatory training and attachment programs, adding that no candidate is posted abroad without completing these formal procedures. He also noted that diplomatic and official passports are issued free of charge to eligible officers and no fees should ever be paid during the recruitment process.
On the issue of diplomatic passport by officers is free, so you don't pay any money. Even official passports by Nigerian workers that are not diplomats is free. In the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there are a category of workers that have the official passport. There is a category of workers that have the diplomatic passport. All those processes are free, so nobody should fall victim to scammers that are...
Acknowledging that job seekers, particularly recent graduates, are often targeted by scammers, Ebienfa urged the media and members of the public to help raise awareness and protect others from falling victim. Citizens are advised to verify all foreign service recruitment information exclusively through the official channels of the Federal Civil Service Commission. Uyi Agumofwebe, reporting for Global TV News.
The Benue State government has allocated 179 acres of land for the establishment of a special operation naval base unit in North Bank, Markudi. Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, disclosed this during his visit to the Naval Board and has approved the establishment of the base to address the security challenges in the state. Correspondent reports.
Continuous attacks by armed men suspected to be Fulani herders, leading to the numerous deaths and displacement of thousands. Over 60% of the state's inland waterways are frequently used by the attackers as escape routes into neighboring states and even Cameroon. Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala stated that the newly approved Naval Command will serve as a strategic base for full operational deployment along the riverine areas.
Looking at Benue State and its strategic location, covering the vast expanse of the River Benue, we have a great role to play in this regard. The Nigerian Navy, being the principal maritime force of this nation,
of Nahai Centralia described the Naval Command in North Bank, Makurdi, as a vital step towards tackling security challenges in the state.
Waterways in the state are quite vast and long, but unfortunately unguarded. And the number of attacks we've experienced came through the waterways. Little or no powers to trace.
The chief of naval staff was later accompanied by the governor to the 179 hectares of land allocated for the base.
And I believe that the issue of insecurity, by the time we are here, of course, most of this insecurity come from the waterways. And of course, you can see the waterway just over there. If they know that we are here and we are operating from here, I think that they will not have the freedom of movement and the freedom of maneuver, which they seem to have for some time now.
First thing, you have a land, you secure it. And then you stem all the arguers and those who want to come in and create some problems out. So I'm happy that lots of perimeter fencing is already done. I want to think that over 50–60% of it is already achieved.
Benue State, as the food basket of the nation, plays a vital role in Nigeria's food security framework. With this, the Nigerian Navy, in collaboration with other security agencies, has pledged to help restore peace, improve livelihood, and stimulate the local economy. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, report, Global TV News.
The President of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has promised to address the scourge of tuberculosis in the country. The wife of the President, who gave this assurance in Ibadan during the Renewed Hope food outreach scheme to vulnerable groups, also promised to address poverty among women and youth. Kikelomo Okeri tells us more.
It is a walking visit to the historical and cultural capital of Yoruba land, Ibadan, and the president's wives and her entourage are welcome to the waiting hands of the wife of the governor of Oyo State, Tamunomini Makinde, where they went straight to the Renewed Hope food outreach scheme to rub minds with vulnerable groups. In attendance are special guests like Oni of Ife and the Alaafin of Oyo. The First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, frowned at scourge of tuberculosis and poverty while promising to deal effectively with both issues.
Because we have to end tuberculosis in Nigeria by 2030. So please, the government is treating those who have, and there's no stigma to it. Because tuberculosis is airborne. So once you're having this troubling cough, please get tested. Because you can.
The president's wives was also at Oladipo Alayande School of Science, Okebola, Ibadan, to commission and hand over the Information Technology Center named in honor of former Minister for Trade and Investment, Onikepo Akonde. She also assured to promote more access to digital tools and skills, thereby promoting innovations.
The knowledge of ICT serves as a significant tool for empowering communities, especially women, enabling them to break traditional barriers and access new opportunities. By equipping themselves with ICT skills, women and girls can enhance their educational prospects, participate in global economy, and support their families.
The Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, stressed the importance of modern technology skills to drive the economy.
In a world where technology drives progress, community hubs of this sort serves as a launchpad for young people to acquire globally relevant digital skills, to build startups and build enterprises, to create solutions for our communities, but also to compete on the global stage as well.
Stakeholders have resolved to create viable technological solutions for the community so that youth can compete favorably on the global stage, while also modeling talents that can contribute effectively to $1 trillion economic projection. Kikelomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Minister of State Federal Capital Territory Dr. Maria Mahmood says the administration is poised to reposition the area councils as thriving tourism and investment hubs. She stated this at the maiden edition of the FCT Area Council's Tourism and Expo Hospitality Investment Carnival in Abuja. Chung Anamel Joseph completes the story.
The nation's capital becomes a national tourist center as the carnival provides an amazing experience in Abuja, promoting Nigeria's immense cultural harmony and unique rhythms. The Minister of State Federal Capital Territory, Dr. Maria Mahmood, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Social Development Secretariat, Bumi Olowo Okere, emphasized that the event aimed at showcasing and promoting investment opportunities and economic growth potential inherent in the various area councils of the FCT. She says, through the celebration of indigenous culture, business and innovation, the administration is poised to ignite and revitalize the economy, foster inclusive economic development, and create pathways for sustainable wealth generation in the FCT, in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
This initiative marks a significant milestone in tourism and hospitality investment in the Federal Capital Territory, as the event is aimed at showcasing and promoting investment opportunities and economic growth potential inherent in our various area councils of the FCT.
She acknowledges the role of the area councils as critical and strategic stakeholders, noting that most of the potential and investment opportunities to drive these directives are domiciled in the area councils. She therefore commends the Tourism Department of the Social Development Secretariat for coming up with the initiative. She, however, assures that the administration will continue to welcome ideas, support initiatives, engender collaboration, and participate in exhibitions that will help to deepen and nurture the revitalization of the tourism and hospitality potential of the FCT.
The event, as the maiden edition, is positioned as a transformative platform to reposition the area councils as a thriving tourism and investment hubs waiting to be harnessed.
The Mandate Secretary of the FCT Social Development Secretariat, Aminu Ibrahim, says the tourism sector has contributed to the GDP of most countries that have invested in the sector. Represented by the Director of Administration and Finance, Dr. Nasiru Shidali, the Mandate Secretary says Abuja remains one of the fastest growing and developing cities, open for business and ripe with enormous opportunities waiting to be harnessed.
Abuja remains one of the fastest growing developing cities that is open for businesses and ripe with enormous opportunities, availability awaiting to be harnessed.
The carnival showcased Nigeria's diversity, rising national consciousness, installing pride and patriotism, and promoting domestic tourism, investment, wealth, and job creation. Chung Anamel reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, UK Prime Minister praises Air Force professionalism, bravery. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Welcome back, and now in business news, the Naira continued its downfall trajectory, closing at 1,602 to the dollar at the official Nigerian foreign exchange market. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says this represents a further depreciation from Monday's closing rate of 1,596 Naira per dollar, reflecting sustained volatility and dollar scarcity in the forex market. On the foreign scene, the United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer has praised the Royal Air Force's professionalism and bravery after it closed out strikes against Houthis targets in Yemen. Speaking during the weekly session of the Prime Minister's Questions, Starmer stated that the strikes were in line with long-standing policy.
Yesterday evening, Royal Air Force Typhoons successfully conducted strikes against Houthi military targets in Yemen in a joint operation with our US allies. This action was in line with long-standing policy of the UK government to defend freedom of navigation in the Red Sea after Houthi attacks fuel regional instability and risk economic security for families in the UK.
And that's it on Global TV AM News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen at Global TV NG. You can also download the Global TV Nigerian app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Priscilla Obasi. Thank you for watching.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
It's good to have you back from the AM News. It's been a very wonderful time coming. A Global Morning, today's Global Morning is a special one, and we are looking at the Workers' Day. Once again, I'll keep saying Happy Workers' Day until the program is over. I have my guest already seated in the studio. He's a legal practitioner and, of course, a public affairs analyst. And he is going to be talking to us today because a lot of people don't even know their rights as workers in Nigeria. Some persons, like I said before we went on break, only look for what they can just take home, irrespective of what they are being paid, irrespective of how they are being treated, irrespective of how their welfare is. They don't care about that. It's just what they take home because they feel it is do your work, no matter how, and just get back home. But today we will be looking at labor law, the rights of Nigerian workers. And I have with me here Peterson Ihueze. He's a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. It's good to have you join us, Barrister.
It's a pleasure, my brother. It's good to be here.
I think I should be saying Happy Workers' Day.
Yes, all of us are workers in the and we are workers and contributing our quota to the national development.
That's so good. Now, we want to look at the labor law. Okay. All right. Do we really have labor law in Nigeria? Because some persons don't even know what labor law is. So what's labor law, and if we have it in Nigeria?
Yes, we have labor law in Nigeria by virtue of Laws of Federation 2004, which regulates the relationship between the employer and the employee in the country, the entitlement, and what is expected for each party to do in the course of the employment. So the labor law, of course, from time to time, the president will amend it. Of course, we saw when it was amended in 2019, which minimum wage was paid at 30,000 naira. And of course, the recent one that was done by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that paid the minimum wage to 70,000 naira.
Okay, now, as a worker, what if someone employs a worker, what is the right of the worker as it has to do with the employment?
Okay, basically, principally, the requirement is when you employ somebody, you pay the person the salary or the wage at the end of the month or at the end of the day, as the case may be. So apart from the principal demand, which is a payment of salary, there is also a requirement for the payment of other entitlement, which the law provides, something like a contributory pension fund, something like insurance and other provisions that are provided by the law to ensure that insurance and other incentives that are provided for this security and protection of the worker. Most importantly, the law mandates the employee to ensure that there is conducive environment for the worker. And also, if it is in a place that the work is hazardous, the law provides for protection on the employer. We've seen in companies where you see that the company will provide something like safety boots, helmets, and other safety measures to ensure that the laborers or the workers are protected in the course of the employment.
All right. What if you get employed and all these things are not in place? Because some places, the only thing they do is just come, look at you, look at your qualification and what the company can pay you, and they just pay. Some don't even pay up to the minimum wage. Is it against the law?
Yes, the law provides that for a company or an individual to pay minimum wage, you must employ at least not less than 50 persons. So because we have petty traders that need sales guests, we have small scale and on scale companies that are coming up, or enterprises. So of course, such strict measures are applicable to persons that can have employed 50 persons and above. So if it is less than 50 persons, of course, it will not be applicable to you. So that is the position. When you are, of course, when you are employed, when you have people that are under your employment, the law provides that you make the place conducive. If you are not doing that, it means that you are playing foul to the law.
Okay, meaning if I get you right, it means if your staff strength is not up to 50, yes, you are not mandated to pay minimum wage.
Yes.
So if your staff, because like I was saying something during my introduction, I said the employees have their right and the employers also have their right, and each of these rights needs to be respected. We have seen situations whereby queries been given in organizations, where people, some even resort to sack. Is there any laid down procedure for the issuing of query, suspension, and termination of appointment, or it is at the discretion of the organization, the employer?
Yes, labor law provides for means by which employment can be terminated. Okay? If it is employment of weeks, 1 day notice is enough. If it's employment of months, 1 month, less than 2 years, 1 week is enough. If it is less than 5 years, 2 months is enough. But if it is more than 5 years, it requires 1 month notice, okay, of the termination and payment, or payment in lieu of the notice. So if you want to give notice of termination, it means that the employment will be terminated in 1 month. Of course, either party can give notice to that effect. So then, if you are unjustly terminated, there are employment that have statutory flavor. What I mean by statutory flavor is employment that backs by the law. Any employment that is by the government agencies, government ministry, or government statutory corporation, incorporated or corporations, they are employment that has statutory flavor. So you cannot dismiss that person except there is laid down procedure being complied with. But if it's employment that has those statutory flavor, something like somebody's company, private company, or individual companies, those ones can dismiss. You don't actually need a reason, you understand, to disengage employer. But the requirement is that you give the required notice, okay? Then even if you go to court, the only thing that the court can order is for the payment of the money that is in lieu of the notice, or any other entitlement or benefit that is agreeable to the employer. But if it is employment that is regulated by the statutes, which means any any company that is by creation of the legislature, whether state or federal or even at the local government level, okay, the court can order for reinstatement of that employer, you know, because that employment has statutory flavor. But if it is not, the only thing that the court can order is compensation, monetary compensation. Then, or any other compensation that is accruable benefit. Then, because the law cannot enforce unwilling employee on the employer, okay? The law cannot force an employee on the unwilling employer. So it must be with the consensual agreement of the employer that I want to employ this person. I like the face of this person. So if the person says, I don't like your face, I don't want you to work for me, of course it is his business. He has the power and the right to do whatever he wants in his business, provided it does not go foul to the law.
Okay, provided it does not go foul to the law. Today is Workers' Day, and of course, a lot of workers have these questions in their mind as it has to do with welfareism, okay, of the worker. What are the things, when we talk about welfare, because a lot of people are so concerned about that. You even talked about it while you were doing your introduction. When we say welfare, okay, workers' welfare, what are we referring to?
Yes, by virtue of Labour Act of 2004, it provides that if a worker or a staff is going on a journey or traveling outside 16 kilometers, that the organization will cater for the transportation. These are one of the things. Then that's why in organization where you see some people going outside the duty or off duty or going outside the environment, you know, to work, you see them giving them transport allowance, okay? Then there is transport allowance in that the law provides that. Then there are other incentives. It depends on the PR or the management of individual companies or individual corporations or even government entities. Then the incentive, of course, in the government sector, we see where, of course, contributory pension. We also have insurance. We have also mortgage, which, of course, not less than 2.5% of the person's paycheck will be deposited or will be, you know, deposited every month for the person's housing insurance, which which a federal mortgage bank houses the money. At the end of the day, the person can also, you know, take a loan or have a housing application or housing incentive in that respect. That on the housing. We have also seen on pension, which at the end of the day, contributory pension, that every month a specific percentage of the person's take-home paycheck will be deducted for pension. At the end of the day, the person will have that as pension. Then we also have incentive that it goes with some organizations have come up with insurance, health insurance, that are applicable to most organizations, even non-government organizations. So these are the incentives that are accruable. Then also for a woman or a woman that is there is a leave that a woman goes, which is a maternity leave. That maternity leave is 6 weeks to the person to the time of giving birth and 6 weeks after the time of giving birth. And also, after that, upon the resumption, the woman also has, by virtue of a provision of Labour Act, has 2 extra 30 minutes to take care of the baby. That's why you see women that are giving that are nursing mothers will always keep their baby very close to the crèche or school or whatever that is very close to their work environment, so that those times they will go and breastfeed the baby and come back and all. So these are the incentives that is accruable. But unfortunately, that in most states, that when these are when somebody retires, payment of these monies will be another problem.
That's the question I wanted to ask, because I've seen a lot of pensioners
have not been
die in the process.
Their own bargain.
But then, why is it like that? Why do we have, even in government parastatals, you see people struggling to get their pension? This pension is not being paid. Then at the end of the day, you see people You see elderly people going for screening, going for all this. Is it that we don't have a good database? Because some of them are even being bedridden to come for things like screening, and this screening take days. Some will have to pay out of wherever they are getting the money from. Why do we have all these situations?
Well, the issue is failure of the system. Okay, because most organized organizations, we don't have such issues. So we usually have such problem at the state level. In fact, I read 2 days ago, one of the governors, he said he said screen Abi, he wants to do something about the upgrading of the data of the pensioners or something. And this is something that should have gone automatically. As you are pulling out from service, you will automatically be translated into a pensioner. And all your pension and gratuity, will start running immediately. But we have seen that at the state level, most regularly, they have not been living up, not all the states anyway, they have not been living up to their expectations. So it's a call for people to, government especially, to live up to their billings so that it will encourage those who are working. Because when you have the assurance that if I work, at the end of the day, when I go home, when my employment will be terminated, or when I will, retire, that I have a reasonable something to go home, it will lessen the person's pressure. It will lessen the person's quest for corruption. It will even encourage the person to give more because he has a security that is going to fall back on. So it's a call on the government to, and not just the government, corporate individuals to ensure that they keep to the bargain, their side of the bargain.
All right, I'm taking you back a little bit. I had to talk about that pension because, we are in the media space. We've had a lot of them talk to us severally, and we've seen so many of them suffering, after the several years of service. Coming back to staff welfareism, everything you mentioned, you listed, is it just for private or for public, or is for both, the welfare, the staff welfare?
Okay, just like I said before now, that if you have in your employment 50 and above persons, so it's automatically applicable to you.
Okay.
Yes, but if you are not, you will also do it in a way that will suit you, that the company or your institution or your organization can carry. In fact, we've seen in Germany where government, assist the private sector to pay minimum wage. When the minimum wage was increased, because the private sector cannot sustain it. Government, by way of incentive, pay so amount, the difference will be paid by the government in order to maintain the esteem of the citizens, both people in private and the public sector, so that they will be at par, because of course it's the same market that they go, it is the same expenses and also the same value of the money that they are being used or expended. So that is what is in that regard. So it is done applicable by the government institution and such institution that have the capacity by way of this parameter that the law use. Then, but other micro sectors, let me use that word, micro, small sectors, they do it according to their capacity.
Their capacity.
Yes,
so
yes.
They can also improvise such that they can also have something deducted from the staff salary to be paid as pension. That's what you mean?
No, what I'm saying is that it's not applicable to them because they don't have the capacity to be paying the pension because they are not under the obligation to pay the minimum wage. So when you don't pay the minimum, we can't, money that is not even up to minimum, we can't be deducting pension, housing, federal mortgage bank and all that, mortgage and all that. So it will not be applicable to such institutions.
All right, I was still talking about labor law in Nigeria and, of course, how the rights of Nigerian workers have been trampled upon and what their rights are, because a lot of people don't even know their rights. Do workers have a way, apart from protests, because we heard in some states, they say they were not coming out for the Workers' Day because of the economic situation and what's going on in those states. But now, is there any way of seeking redress if this law is being breached by either the employer or the employee?
Yes. In fact, we have done very well in the aspect of judiciary that we have a special court created for labor-related issues, which is National Industrial Court. Okay? We have also seen this National Industrial Court has jurisdiction to entertain cases that borders on labor-related matters. Okay? And because it's a special court, special attention is paid to that sector or to that aspect of the economy. And even in practice, in National Industrial Court, the rules of evidence of technicalities does not apply. So it is labor-friendly court. Okay? So these are measures that employers can take. And remember that I said that if it is employment that has statutory flavor, that the courts can order for reinstatement, just like happened in University of Ibadan, 44 university lecturers and all that they were reinstated and all the entitlements were paid. So when such right is, breached, the remedy, one of the remedies that is applicable to an individual is, of course, to go to court to ventilate your right, which we have seen where courts order some monetary compensation to the individual, to the claimant in that regard. So the court is there. And also we have also seen where the labor go on strike to press home their demand. We have also seen where labor, protest. By way of protest, they can do that to register their displeasure over a particular policy or decision of the government. We have seen that. So these are measures that the employee can use to ventilate their anger or their what they feel that is not going on normal in the organization.
Yes, we're talking about employees all the while. Let's talk about the employer a little bit. There are some staff that are very stubborn, that don't keep to the law of the organization most times, as it has to do with a staff, because we talked about termination and how the termination can actually be done. If someone is terminated, does the person have any right to seek redress for any reason?
Yes, I said that if you are unlawfully terminated.
Okay. When you say unlawful, what do you mean unlawful?
Termination that does not follow the due process of the law. That is unlawful termination. Unlawful means something that is not in accordance with the law. So what you do, you seek redress in the court of law. Even now, I'm presently handling a matter in the National Industrial Court. Okay? And I've handled this, not just one. So when employment is unlawfully terminated, of course, before you be terminated, there are laid down procedures. Disciplinary committee, giving the person fair hearing, unless if you are invited, you did not come. Okay? So you don't just dismiss an employer. There must be a disciplinary committee as laid down by the law. The person will appear, and also, make presentation, and a decision will be taken. So
by the disciplinary committee,
yes, and
not just the CEO.
Yes, and they recommend to the management. A disciplinary committee will be set up to look into it, even in an organization and an association. When there is an infraction of the law or a disciplinary action, the usual is to set up a disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee will now make a recommendation to the management. Then at that instance, the CEO or whoever that is in charge will sit as a board and now take the recommendation of the disciplinary committee. So when those procedures are not followed, even in the private sector, when it is not followed, the person can go to court and say, please, look, I was unjustly terminated. And what will usually happen is that when such persons are sacked, of course, they won't pay them the entitlement. So the person can go to court and say, yes, you have a right to sack me, but you did not follow due process. Therefore, I'm entitled to this and that and that. Since I did not steal, I did not commit any gross misconduct. Even if there is, there should be a laid-down procedure. You hear me? Fair hearing. I was not granted fair hearing. So the court will order those things that were meant for lawful termination, those entitlement and benefit. The court will order that.
Okay, but would the court say, okay, is it because we didn't set up a committee, disciplinary committee? All right, let's go and set up a disciplinary committee.
No,
or that it was not set up initially?
No. I said if it's employment that has statutory flavor, the court will order for a statement. You can even order for a statement because as at that time, in the eye of the law, the due process, the law views it that you were not even terminated because due process has not been complied with. So the court will order that he should be reinstated. Then if you feel that there is an infraction, set up a disciplinary committee and do the needful. That's what happened in the University of Ibadan, that the lecturers were reinstated. Okay? The issue is not whether there was an infraction or there was a disciplinary issue. The issue is that the due process was not followed. So, but if it is an employment that does not have, the backing of the law, what the law will say, no problem. You were unlawfully terminated or lawfully terminated. Therefore, you are entitled to this monetary compensation because this is what your rules of engagement or your contract of employment provides.
Okay, finally, before I let you go, I think we need to talk about this because some persons have complained to me in the past, okay, in a situation whereby they were employed by a private organization and they were not given employment later. They've worked for 2-3 months. There was nothing like employment later. And this person has already collected, is it guarantor form, what they call it, you fill employment form, but at the end of the day, they have all your data, but then you don't have an employment later. And to me, I told them it was risky. But what's the place of the law as far as that kind of treatment is concerned?
Well, there should be an offer of employment because it's a contractual relationship. Okay? There should be an offer of employment, letter of offer of employment, which usually they will tell you that if you accept, you sign to the contract and return the counterpart. Okay? So, but what we see in these days is that, in fact, there is one case that I'm handling presently is the Chinese. They employed a man as a driver and later translated him to another sector of their company, which the man is doing the work of. What he's doing is beyond the work of a driver. Okay? Then this man queried, give me employment, offer of employment or letter of employment that covers my scale of duty or line of duty. They refused. Okay, so what they do is a Shylock approach in order to, in order not to be held liable or responsible in that when there is issue in that level. In fact, usually what they do is that at the end of the day, they will disengage the person and the person who have any remedy or who have anything as evidence to fall back on.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
disbursing upkeep of 20,000 naira.
Know that you cannot talk about a healthy nation if you don't have means to produce your own in addition to importing.
The CG is the principal actor of this because it's within her jurisdiction. Minister is a supervisor.
That we must run in accordance with the Constitution of CAN, where you have just a single time.
The human factor, you have the infrastructural factor, then you have the mechanical factors.
The Senate, with all due respect, they were so hasty in passing that judgment.
The statement I'm about to make is we're not even aware.
That is the future.
You have to be aware before you can begin to be prepared.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
As a matter of fact, the right of Nigerian workers and the right of Nigerian employers should not be tampered with. It is Workers' Day, and we're looking at the right of the Nigerian workers. Do we have labor law? My guests have already established the fact that there is labor law and what it entails. Now we've been talking about the employee, all this employee and employers all the while. Finally, we're rounding up because my other guest is already seated. But then, before I allow Barrister to go, Barrister, let's look at a misbehaving employee. You know, some employees are very stubborn. They don't even know that there are terms and conditions for their employment. In such cases, how can it be handled?
Okay, well, in personnel management, there is what they call stick and carrot. Stick is a situation whereby you use the stick to discipline an employee. Then carrot is a principle that you make out program or event to appreciate the employer that has, the employee that has done well. Okay, so in that stick, which is disciplinary measures, we've seen query, we have seen suspension, we have seen even sack. Okay, we have even seen a situation whereby in an organization, somebody, let me use in a football balance, somebody being benched. You can have a good player, but because of indiscipline of that player, you tell the player to remain on the bench. It's part of the discipline. So it also applies in the working place. If there are other things that project the person's interest or any other benefit in the organization, because of the person not being compliant, not giving in, not being in compliance with the rules and regulations of the organization, such measures will be taken to discipline the person, to ensure that the person live up to its billing. And another thing is that if you don't discipline the person, it will demoralize other workers in the organization, because they say, this person came late yesterday, nothing was happened, nothing happens, no disciplinary measure. Is it me that did this that you are coming? You know that kind of issue. So that is why it is very, very important to maintain that discipline in the organization.
All right. Thank you very much. Because of our time, we won't be able to continue. There are so many other questions that I would have asked. But I want to say a very big thank you to you, Barrister, for coming on the program today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, this is going to be the end of the first conversation. We will go into the second conversation as we look at the Workers' Day, how it's going, and of course, what has happened before now. How instrumental has the labor unions been as far as the workers' welfare and other things are concerned in Nigeria? All of that will be coming after this break. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Welcome back from that break. It's time for us to go into the second discussion. Once again, happy Workers' Day to all the workers in Nigeria. Now, we want to look at the workers' plight and the role of civil society organizations. And we have someone who has been in the forefront, all right, for workers in Nigeria. He has actively, helped a lot of workers in Nigeria to handle their cases, has participated in so many protests. He has been in the forefront for Nigerian workers, not just Nigerian workers, but for all Nigerians, because he's a human rights activist. We have today a conflict resolution expert and public commentator and a human rights activist in the person of Kachi Gerard. It's good to have you join us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
I think I should be saying Happy Workers' Day.
Yes, Happy Workers' Day to you and to our workers as well.
All right. Well, ordinarily, if you were not here, where would you have been right now?
Of course, I will be at Eagle Square, observing what is going on. And then I also intend to visit a Kuje Correctional Facility to see some persons there.
Okay.
So I have already scheduled activities, but here we are.
That's true, because we actually wanted you on this very program because you've interfaced for a lot of workers in Nigeria. So what do you think, based on your experience, What are the plights of Nigerian workers?
It's so, in fact, it's uncountable. The plight of Nigerian workers are uncountable, and especially just opposite to the government that is always throwing propaganda whenever issues of Nigerian workers being, brought to the table. You recall, as of today, we are made to understand that the minimum wage of a Nigerian worker is 70,000 naira. But then, as at the time that minimum wage was negotiated or agreed upon, a lot of things, for example, the fuel pump price was still below 500 naira. And then you look at electricity tariff, it was between 66 naira. That's the highest we have then. But after it was agreed upon that 70,000 naira, we have seen that it appears like you use one hand to give, you use the other one to collect even more than. As of today, there's no place you can say you get a price of PMS less than 900. Electricity tariff is above 250 naira per unit, depend on the band where they put you. You understand? You look at the transport, even while they negotiated, Nigerian workers were informed that they will benefit, that the price of transportation to work and other things will reduce because of innovation of compressed natural gas and health care and subsidies they promise that they will give them, including wage award. But today, there's no place. We use FCT as an example. The same cost of transportation when they remove subsidy and hike fuel pump prices and other things, still what we are facing today. Even though that some of the transporters have converted their vehicles to CNG. Even the government-owned buses that are using CNG, they're supposed to set the pace, lead by example. You understand? If, for example, somebody is moving from Secretariat to Nyanya, Kubwa, Zuba, Buhari, as a case study, you say, okay, before the commencement of a CNG program, they are using, for example, 1,000 naira or 800 naira to go to Cuba, and you are bringing CNG buses. There's supposed to be a subsidy. Say you are collecting maybe 300, 250. That will force down other private-driven transport businesses to come down at least to low up to 400 or 5, the case may be. But that's not the case. So it becomes, the more you look, the less you see. The plight is so enormous. It's uncountable. Just recently, a few days ago, we saw LEA workers, those at the local government, the area council level, that are teachers at the primary schools, staging a protest at the office of FCT minister. They have been owed, there's no term in the life of this administration, there's no time that LEA do not issue threat to go to strike or go to strike. In the last term of, I think the second term, they refer to those primary school. They're supposed to have either 13-week calendar or either 14-week calendar. More than half of it we are used on strike. They only return to see how they can manage and do examination just 1 week. So the plight is so enormous, and that is where leadership comes in. Leadership in the same that, any leader, governor, president that is unable to take care of the workers' welfare should be shown the door. If he cannot resign, there should be a monumental mass protest that will force him out of office. I will use a case study in Kogi State. There was a time they had a governor in Yaya Bello. The workers were struggling to get their salary. Some we are collecting on percentage. But the current administration now, led by Ododo, is something else. Either they pay between 24 or thereabouts. Every month they pay, and they pay full. In the same party, in the same set of persons, because Ododo is appointed and anointed successor to. You understand what I'm saying? So you say it's the same people, the same party. It depends on the leadership, the person in charge. You have similar thing in River State, where Wike was doing wonders in the infrastructure, but the welfare of the workers is a problem. And
So,
and he was taking care of the welfare of the workers. So, in a nutshell, for Nigeria to have a monumental progress or development with speed of light, welfare of the Nigerian workers should be a priority. It shouldn't be secondary. Because we are not making it a priority, we are always want to display to the gallery, especially for the ruling elite, the politicians. They want so that you start counting for them, I achieve this, I achieve that. You understand? In the eyes of the people, because if you put percentage of the Nigerian workers, it's not up to 10% of the population. So they always want to be on the good side of the people, that they develop this, they do that, thereby relegating the welfare of the Nigerian workers. But it has a way of fighting back. Just this week, we learned that the student loan scheme of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu program, there were complaints that over 50 schools, in one way or the other, find a way to support, take care of their own support with regards to inflating what they are not supposed to collect. Finding one name or the other. And I'm telling people, it's not just only in the tertiary schools. Even these early years that are on strike, because of the frustrations they face, generally we are meant to believe that we have free education at the primary school level, and some to an extent post-primary, that is junior secondary. And some states, they do up to senior secondary. But then, you observe that those areas where they have these free educations, they are not free educations, and they are not taking care of the welfare of the teachers or those managing the free education, they find a way to take care of themselves. If they don't find a way to exploit through PTA, they will target development levy, or they target examination levy, or sport. They will just find one terminology to extort money, to get money that will take care of themselves. They will tell you it's projects, but behind the project is their own welfare.
Oh, all right. Looking at all of this now, you've interfaced with a lot of workers in the past. Now, today is Workers' Day.
Yes.
And of course, some states are still clamoring for the minimum wage. Now, as it is, looking at workers' welfare, is there anything, all right, what is the role of the civil society organizations, all right, in this whole thing? Because most times you hear of the civil society organization, take for instance, SERAP suing the president, SERAP suing this organization. A lot of other civil society organizations that we don't even know, all right, that are there, that fight for these people. So as it is right now, how much of the impact, all right, of these civil society organizations have workers felt in Nigeria?
You see, because of politicization of things and divide and rule methodology of the current government and even previous government, it has created a lacuna by which they used to operate. Because I believe if both civil society and organized labor are united in their pursuit on anything, they will achieve it. Nothing will stop it. But because there's interference with regards to things like that, you begin to see pro and counter. For example, when they were negotiating the minimum wage, we at the Civil Society, my organization, Initiative Against Human Rights Abuse and the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, they both stand with the working masses, and we are making a demand that the least a Nigerian worker should collect is 250,000 naira. And we are together with the organized labor until blackmail, intimidation, setting. at the end of the day, the organized labor were, pushed to the point that they don't have option than to collect a measure 70,000 naira as a minimum wage. And today we have seen deflation. Meaning that we must and we shall, except we renegotiate and do things that can take home a Nigerian worker, we shall continue to see bribery, corruption, manipulation, padding, what have you. You can't take a Nigerian worker with all these issues of social welfare package they promise. Remember, why they negotiated, they promised a lot of subsidies in food, health, education, etc., etc. How many have gone to fruition? It was once we heard last year that they are reducing the price of 50 kg of rice for a Nigerian worker. That was around Mbamut last year. And it becomes conditional. You understand?
I think that was even meant for civil servants,
yes,
like we were meant to understand.
Even civil servants, if we have 100 civil servants in Nigeria, believe me, up to 70 did not collect that, did not get that.
So where did this rest go to?
That is where we need to be honest to ourselves. Federal government of Nigeria, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, can be honest and sincere in his agenda. But those implementing it, you recall there was a time they did palliative, advent of after COVID-19. Palliative that even those at the humanitarian ministry were claiming that they were feeding school children that we are at home, even amidst lockdown. But at the end of the day, they claim that in fact some of the officers in that government, we are seen on different media boasting that there's no household that have not gotten palliative or collected palliative, that people are raising false alarm and so on and so forth. By the end of that 2020,
did you get?
Where now?
I didn't get either.
But I know people that got where I live. And they claim that they are targeting vulnerables. But they are actually not vulnerables. What they did was, if you're a member of a ruling party, that is APC, the chances that you get are there. Notwithstanding, those monarchs, those ones they brought through the monarchs, the traditional rulers, actually get to the vulnerable because they know them. But what I'm trying to say is that if, for example, federal government release 100 bags of grain with regards to that palliative, what got to the public is not up to 40. And we never knew. And they were hitting their chest because they know the number of things they release. They release through the National Assembly, through the state, through the local government. So they know what they did. Not until when we had NSAS protests around October, that same year, you start seeing people boxing warehouses. Those things they claim they have shared.
But do you know what?
We are back.
Comrade, something even amazed me that period. I was wondering how were they able to know that there were palliatives in those warehouses that were broken up?
You see, there is no way water will drop from the sky that the ground will not know. It's not possible.
That's a big parable. Right?
You understand? It's just like, there's no way. You can deceive some people sometimes, but not all the people. There are even those among them that are working for them that are not happy with the way their organs are treating them and the entire nation. But they are just looking for slight opportunity to express it. Take, for example, it is a condition today in Nigeria that no law enforcement agency will embark on strike, no matter whatever you are seeing in your place of work.
Because they are part of the system too.
You understand? Not just part of it, it's part of the conditions of the job. You can't protest. Now, but we saw what happened last year during End Bad Governance protests. where they charge a lot of protesters for treason, treasonable felony, etc., etc. They claim that they fly Russian flag. But if you watch some of the clips that we saw last year, you saw even Nigerian police force also flying the same flag. It's not difficult to identify them. But they didn't go after them. They are looking for those they will use as a scapegoat. You understand? So, in every setting, including Nigerian police force, Nigerian army, civil defense, immigration, they are facing what we are facing. The hardship, deflation, but how to cry out is a problem.
Okay, our time is fast spent right now. Let's quickly look at some very punchy areas as it has to do with defending the rights of the Nigerian workers, the plight of Nigerian workers. As it is right now, we're talking about civil society organizations and organized labor like the NLC, the TUC, and like your own organization too. Yes. Now, we've had a lot of protests. Have there been results recorded from this protest?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's uncountable. In fact, it's because of these industrial actions, call it protests, and what have you, other mechanism they use. That is why we are able to even see the Patri 70 minimum and 1,000 naira wage. If not, the governors we have, that many of them make themselves appear like a demi or semi-god, are not ready to pay more than 35,000 naira. You understand? Even the minimum wage we have today, that is 70,000, and even though there are states that are paying more than 70, some are still struggling to pay it. Enforcement lies on the organized labor. But because of interference, divide and rule, they are struggling with it. So protests or industrial action have led to a lot of things that made us to achieve a greater part of things. If not for this organized, for example, if you recall, before now we have been facing issues of police brutality, harassment, intimidation, name it and go on and go, assault, torture. It was as a result of protests against police brutality that checkmated some of the things we normally used to see police with. Today, you can hardly go to any checkpoint and see police searching your phone. That does not mean they are not searching. But then it was a rampant thing that once you accustom a checkpoint and they want to make money, they start searching everybody's phone. If they finish searching back, they call it stop and search, they will double into phone. If they see things that...
But is that lawful?
No, it's not lawful. It's a product of strike and protest. Industrial action that put a stop to it.
Okay, now they don't do it. They don't do it anymore.
It's limited. It's minimal.
So why?
So if you see anyone that indulges in it, complain. Lodge your let us know. We will take it up.
All right, because
you understand.
Yes.
Now, you look at issue of police dabbling into civil matters, making it criminal matters, criminal offences, wherein a department that set up for anti-robbery and kidnapping like SARS. We even dive into debt recovery, land disputes, family issues, and etc., to cause harassment, intimidation, to coerce people. They were put in check. They were reduced. So we have achieved a whole lot of things, but we still have big rooms to achieve even more.
Okay, our time is already up. Before I finally let you go, do you also believe that the Nigerian Labour Congress, the NLC, is not as effective as it used to be? Because some Nigerians are complaining that most times they don't get a good representation like it used to be during the times of Adams Oshomole.
It depends. I do not agree or subscribe to that. In fact, I must say, without missing word, that this current organized labor led by Joe Ajero and Comrade Usifo.
Usifo,
I think
Festus. Yes, Festus Usifo.
I want to
TUC.
Yes, I want to use the opportunity to congratulate him for getting re-elected back by his union. You understand? Because he has been outstanding. If you look at their leadership, their engagement, is better than the ones they inherited on. The ones that their predecessors, the immediate predecessors, this particular two set of gentlemen, their leadership has been wonderful. In fact, you recall that time you said that Adams Oshomolu was outstanding. He was getting beaten at every given opportunity. He will get beaten, they will draw him on the floor, the following day they will release him, and the struggle will continue. Similarity has been seen with Joe Ajero. He went to Imo State to enforce this minimum wage. He was beaten black and blue. He was flown abroad for treatment. In fact, it's because of his doggedness that made any little thing that happens, they want to link the organized level, especially NLC, to it. The end bad governance protest that took place in August last year, he was accused of financing terrorism. If not the way they responded, they would have used him as a scapegoat. You understand? Even though in this situation, there have been interference, there have been these using tribalism, religion, and what have you, to do divide and rule in that leadership.
All right.
But they are doing their best.
Okay,
but then,
I think
then the best is not good enough. They should close ranks to see how they can, get civil society to, join them in the struggle. Most times nowadays, at least they have seen from experience, the end bad governor did not participate, but they were linked. You understand? Even when we carried out protests against police brutality, they did not join. But Nigerians, before then, it was until organized labor call for industrial action before anything meaningful can happen. Now it's showing that Nigerians on their own can organize through civil society and express their dissatisfaction about things that are happening.
Whether NLC is involved or not.
So I think is that they should stay away from this intimidation and fear that is always they used to frame up against them. And stand on what is right. And if they stand on what is right, no matter how they intimidate or they try to search skeletons in their cupboard, they will succeed.
All right. Our time is up. I would have loved us to talk more because talking about NLC is not something we can exhaust today, just like Nigerians are actually very optimistic. Today is Workers' Day, and we've been talking about workers all the day. Well, first discussion was about the labor law and the right of the Nigerian workers. And now we just talked about the workers' plight and, of course, the contribution, the effort, and what the civil society organizations have been able to do interfacing between the workers and the authorities concerned. And we had someone who is an expert talk to us, and a human rights activist, and of course is also someone that interfaces with Nigerian workers. A very big thank you, comrade, for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having me. And just like we are celebrating workers, today also happens to be my wife's birthday.
Well, happy birthday to you, madam.
I use the opportunity to also celebrate her, always
every her birthday is colliding with the workers' day.
Oh yes.
All right.
We will certainly celebrate it.
All right, many thanks for joining us, everyone, from everywhere in the world. This is the end of Global Morning today. Global Morning will be coming on your way again tomorrow. Remember that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. On social media, we are on Facebook, we are on X, and also on Instagram. And don't forget that you can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app on your iOS and, of course, your Android devices to keep track of our broadcast. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Many thanks for joining us on Global Morning today. Coming up next is Talk Sport. Bye-bye for now.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave,
they'll take permission for.
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
We struggled, as to strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any data.